Hey, what's going on, Los Angeles? What's up, Ramley? Welcome to the Rams Skinny here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. The Rams schedule, or the entire NFL schedule, officially dropped yesterday evening. The Rams schedule release video, I think, met with mixed reviews. We'll talk about that briefly, but then we're going to kind of just go through the schedule, give our thoughts on each game, not spend a ton of time, but multiple primetime games, obviously a London game, some big travel. So we'll talk it all about what we think about this Rams official schedule. Maybe Skinny and I will leak which away game we're going to go to. Maybe we actually make one this year. We've been talking about that for like 4 years going to one. Maybe this year we will go to one. So yeah, a lot of schedule talk here on the Rams Skinny. First and foremost, though, the Skinny, the man, rocking the Twins hat today. How we doing, brother?
Man, I'm rocking the Twins hat for a very special reason. Winners of 11 straight, still in third place in the AL Central, but they have top 10 run differential. This team is pointing in the right direction, but there's never Twins good news without Twins bad news. Two of their players collided today and are in concussion protocol. Two of their best players, Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa. So, swept the Orioles and, a little bit of bad news at the end, but I'm ecstatic for 11-game winning streak. Hottest team in baseball right now, getting their stuff together.
Have they really won 11 straight?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Just wrapped up against the Orioles earlier today for their 11th. And they've played some cupcakes a little bit. Orioles aren't great, but they beat up on the Giants as well, swept that series.
Yeah.
Giants are doing pretty well. So I'm Warriors got bounced, and so now I got the Twins to look forward to. So my Minnesota Minute, that's what I'm going to call that.
Minnesota Minute. There you go. Hey, Dodgers Twins. That'd be a fun World Series.
I predicted it a few years ago, and the Twins, lost in the first round of the playoffs. So I'm keeping my mouth shut this year.
At least they were in the playoffs, but yeah, Dodgers somehow like still in first place with all their injuries. I mean, it is insane the injuries that they have sustained.
Every day it seems like there's another guy coming down. Dalton Rushing they called up, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, I know the Austin Barnes, longest tenured Dodger now optioned. So
yeah.
Thank you for your services, Mr. Barnes, for the 2 World Series you're a part of.
Indeed.
But yeah, Twins, good for you. We our good friends over at Minnesota Sports Fan. Check that website if anyone listening randomly is a Minnesota fan. That we're in a chat with them, a Slack chat, and I had no idea the Twins were on 11-game win streak because the way they talk about them, it's like they're always miserable. So I was like, when you said that, I'm like, wait, what? I thought they were like on an 11-game losing streak based on the way they talk in that chat.
Yeah, unless I'm like delusional and I'm just seeing what I want to see. But I'm pretty sure I got this.
Sounds like a Minnesota fan. But yeah, well, good. Yeah, great. Well, let's just get into it. So let me get your thoughts first. So schedule release, super fan, Brenda Song. She's great. We all love her. Yeah. Did like a news desk segment, kind of breaking news as each week went by. I'll let you go first. What did you think of the release?
Here's what I'm going to say about it. There's a lot of good people that work for the Rams, a lot of hardworking people. So, I'll keep my my harshest thoughts, and I'm going to quote the great Ivy League NFL philosopher Mike McDaniel and say, a lot of creative people doing creative things in 2025, and that's creative.
You're not going to give us more than that?
I don't want to rag on anybody. I didn't love it. Comedy is hard.
Yeah.
And I said to you, it's like when an athlete goes on SNL and you're like, yeah, that's funny.
Thanks for trying.
Funny. Yeah. You did a good job. Yeah. You did a good job.
The effort was there.
But it's like it seemed like it was supposed to be kind of like a daily show, kind of a weekly comedy show, and it like comedy's hard. They got writers. They got a whole room of writers working around the clock, churning, and they're comedy writers. So it's tough. It's a tough one.
I'll just say it wasn't like horrible or anything. But yeah, I just think it kind of fell flat. Like I liked the incorporation of like the celebrity super fans. Brenda Song obviously has become well known as a
Derion Kendrick, very funny.
Jerry Killiam had a cameo, which was great, and he's like a Rams super fan. So I like that, and having a few of the players do some little things like Braden Fisk and Jared Verse in there. But yeah, I just kind of fell flat. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was like probably the worst release thing. I haven't watched all 32, but I wouldn't say it was the worst. I definitely would not say it was the best.
There are two Minecraft. Well, there were two Minecraft ones.
Yeah,
The Colts had to pull theirs down because they forgot to contact Microsoft.
Oh, is that why? I thought it was because they like offended Tyreek Hill.
I mean, I would be more concerned about Microsoft coming after me in a litigious way rather than Tyreek Hill mad that the Coast Guard pulled them over.
Yeah. Well, that makes way more sense because when I saw they took it down and whatever, I thought the reason was just because they like offended. I'm like, well, that's the whole like the Chargers one always is like offending people. Like they put Devontae Adams in like a Pop-Tart or something, or I don't remember what they did last year. So that would make sense though if they had some copyright issues with Microsoft.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And I don't know anything about Minecraft, but we're in our Slack channel and all these young people, which are like half my age, trying to talk me into liking or keeping an open mind to Minecraft. Yeah. I'm an old man. I don't have time to do the things I need to do, much less like F around on in Minecraft for hours.
Is it Minecraft like an old game? I thought it was like when we were kids. Or is it new?
I mean, it's been around since my nephew, who's coming up on 16 years old. I mean, he was playing that when I was a kid, so it's been around for a while. But I think you can spend a bunch of money and like, I'm just shooting in the dark at this point. But because I know nothing about it,
I'm not a gamer at all. So someone in the comments maybe say. But what was the game when we were growing up? That's like it's just a bunch of gray squares, and you have to like plant flags, and you're looking like you don't want to hit the bomb.
Oh,
isn't that Minecraft?
No, that's Minesweeper.
Minesweeper. Okay, so Minecraft is a newer game. Okay, with the gaming industry.
Oh boy. Well, now I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, no, do not. So I thought Minecraft was like an old game that they've brought back. Like I knew obviously there's new iterations, kind of like how Sims every year is new and growing and whatever. So yeah, the Chargers did Minecraft, and just for parallels of Rams versus Chargers, the Rams I just checked before the show had like 1.1 million impressions, and this is just on Twitter. The Chargers was almost at 15 million, so quite a longer lasting, I guess, in that. But anyway, so yeah, it was I'll just say this: last year's Rams one was much better. I thought they did a great job last year.
Last year's was super cool.
Yeah, definitely. Last year's was awesome. So I'm always curious. Like, I wonder if the budget was less this year. They were just like, let's just incorporate some celebrities we know and keep it simple. Because I mean, that was probably a pretty in and out 2-hour production, done, edit, call it a day.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas I'm sure the one the previous year was like a couple weeks long production time.
Hey, and I'll say this: I would rather the Rams win a bunch of games and be focused on football than producing a slick and fantastic release video.
Yeah,
which I've learned it's the Super Bowl for the creative teams. So again, hats off to you, creative people. Yeah. I count myself among you.
Yeah, we're creative people too. I still think the Rams, though, and I hope they do, like their best bet is just like involving McVay. Like let McVay talk for 30 seconds about like each matchup. Just put him in like a chair. Like I think that'd be great.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Just get Les Snead and Sean McVay in their draft house.
Yeah.
And don't steal this, Rams. If you steal this, you've got to credit us. Get those two in their Malibu draft house, just talking smack about teams like they do about the Patriots when they took Cole Strange.
Yeah. Like I think that'd be fantastic. Like week 1 matchup, Houston, they each talk about a past performance, and McVay breaks down like a play that they did against Houston, and they move to the next. Yeah. Simple, easy, and you're highlighting your two most important people.
We got to get paid for this, man.
Yeah, come on. Most influential Rams podcast. So, all right, well, let's look at this schedule. So the release is out. The schedule is out. We've known the opponents for quite some time, but now we know the order, and we know the dates and potentially booking travel plans. So season start, we'll kind of just go. I think we try to decide pre-air what we're going to do, but I think we just kind of go week by week, and we'll just go quickly, so we're not spending a ton of time. But week 1, home against the Texans. Are we doing predictions here? Win loss? I mean, why not? I guess, right?
Yeah, let's do it. We can do a few of those.
Hey, why not? Houston. Okay, so Houston's gonna be really interesting, Skinny, because obviously a playoff team both years, back-to-back years, with CJ Stroud at the helm and with their great coach, who I think is one of the great young coaches in all of football. last year, for whatever reason, they made the playoffs. They won a playoff game again, beating the Chargers, but it just felt like they weren't nearly as good last year. I don't know if I was just because there was so much hype after year one that even though they basically equaled their same level, it just felt like a downfall because they didn't elevate higher.
Yeah.
But I think they've made some nice moves. Obviously, CJ Stroud did have a regression from year one, but still, I think very good going into year three now. They're bringing in a new offensive coordinator after moving on from Bobby Slowick. So what's your thoughts on this game quickly?
Yeah, you said it brilliantly there. Nick Caley is really one of the big stories, getting rid of Bobby Slowick and bringing in former Rams tight end coach Nick Caley. A lot of what CJ's problems were last year was, it seemed like to me anyway, around the offensive line, not to mention injuries to Stephon Diggs, injuries to Nico Collins, injuries to Tank Dell. So basically his entire receiving core was decimated. And that's not going to be the case this year. Added some good guys there. Nico Collins probably going to be back. Swapped out Laramie Tunsil. Apparently he was a negative influence for the group, for the locker room. I never know about that kind of thing. But what really worries me,
mask from pre-draft must have been rearing its ugly head.
What worries me is the defense. This is going to be the first new look with kind of a Coleman Shelton probably in the center position. So, that's kind of what I'm looking at. So, first game, I think it's going to be a tight one. I'm going to start it off with a loss. I'm going to start this off. My prediction is an L.
An L. Okay. Keep track of your predictions here. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough game. I mean, Houston, they're just one of those, I think because they're a newer team, obviously a great market. I mean, Houston's a huge, what is it, the fourth biggest city in America, a huge market. So it's not like they're some small market team. Yeah, I didn't know that, right? Houston, or I did know that, but I was randomly looking at a list and they're way higher than I expected. But I just feel like they fly under the radar. And maybe it's just because they haven't had sustained success and whatnot. And like I said, a newer franchise, but they are a really good football team, really well coached, good organization overall, a lot of great players. So this is gonna be a tough battle. I think the difference here will be that it's a home game for the Rams. I don't think Houston's one of those that travels massively, especially because they are newer. So I don't think there's any fear of a takeover or whatever here in LA. I mean, there will be some Texas fans, like every away team that comes, but so I'll go win here. I'll start 1-0. Positive.
All right.
Then they travel out to Nashville to take on the new look Tennessee Titans. And I think the Titans are gonna get things turned around. I like maybe the GM hire. We'll see how that pans out. Obviously, they go and get the first overall pick and draft Cam Ward. But it's gonna take some time. I don't think this is gonna happen this year. If Cam Ward wins that job, remember they still have Will Levis there, who they drafted to be their future quarterback. He's still there, and he's obviously not going to just give the job away. So there's going to be a battle there, and they've got some nice pieces, but this is a rebuild year, or continuation of the rebuild. So I think the Rams should handle this one handily. We won't spend a ton of time on it, but I'll toss to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. They're definitely in a rebuilding. Cam Ward had big question marks around him, even though he was the first overall pick. So yeah, I'm going to go with a win as well here.
So this next one is interesting. And the Rams get kind of screwed a few times just for travel timings on this. And this is one of those instances. So they're in Nashville playing Tennessee. The very next week, they're in Philly. So before even to the game, obviously it's going to be a huge matchup, a rematch of the divisional game that the Rams should have won. I mean, is this a game where you just stay out east? It doesn't make a lot of sense to fly all the way back out west for a few days and all the way back east. So are they kind of screwed in a way to be like, well, they're just making an East Coast trip for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think they should stay out there, find a nice, comfy resort somewhere in the Smoky Mountains or some beautiful spot to lay their heads and rest up for a tough Eagles matchup.
Do they get the redemption, do you think?
Oh man, I mean, this is always going to be a tough one. I don't think the Eagles got worse over this offseason. Added our favorite linebacker, Alabama's Jihad Campbell. Still got Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
This is gonna test our whipping post, Troy Reeder, Omar Spates, that lightweight defensive line. I'm going loss on this one. I don't think redemption on the road in Philly.
So in back-to-back years, Rams starting under the 8 ball here, 1-2 for the Rams, for Skinny T, I should say. I agree. I think the Rams are going to match up a lot. Like, if this game were coming in November, December, I might take the Rams. But because it's back-to-back East Coast games, everything you said about the Eagles, I think the Rams have gotten better. But until I see the defensive improvement, and right now we just can't see it. It's May, like the draft just ended. We got to see these new additions, what they actually look like. 3 weeks into the season and not seeing them play yet, I can't sit here and say like, oh yeah, that defense is going to stop Saquon Barkley, who ran for 200 plus yards both times they played. I hope they will, but I can't like feasibly sit here and say they will when we haven't seen it. So at this point, I'm going to go with a loss to another well-fought game. I think it'll come down to the very end, but I'll take a loss as well. So I have them 2-1. Skinny has them 1-2. Then they travel back home for back-to-back home games, and they get the Indianapolis Colts on September 28th. I don't know what to make of the Colts, Skinny. I like I like their coach. I think they've got some nice players. Quarterback seems to be a mess just because we don't really still know what to make of Anthony Richardson. Is he actually going to be the franchise quarterback? Is he going to sit out when he gets tired? Is he going to, who knows? Is he going to stay healthy? And obviously that's the most important position. So way too many question marks with Indy at this point. I do like Shane Steichen, like I said, their coach. I think they have some nice pieces. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, a great running back, and a good offensive line, some good defensive pieces. But after a tough loss in Philly, Rams come home and recoup, lick their wounds, and get a big win at home against the Colts to move to 3-1 for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. I think it's going to be a little tougher out though. They get Lou Anarumo from Cincinnati, really good defensive coordinator. They bring in Charvarius Ward on the defense as well. Kind of shoring up that back end, some guys up front as well that I think can cause some trouble. DeForest Buckner's still there. Leatu Latu in his sophomore effort. Could be interesting. And then, on the offensive side, really interesting group of wide receivers. They're kind of doing the committee approach to that. Like Green Bay does, where they got a bunch of young guys that it's kind of a basketball team, a bunch of guys that do, this or that really, really well. So I think it's going to be a little closer, but I'm going to call it a win again for the Rams. Daniel Jones is a backup. Jonathan Taylor, though, that's going to be a guy to watch. So, but I still think it's a win, but I'm going to give them a bit more credit. I don't think they're going to be a dumpster fire of a team.
Who is their quarterback when they play? Who do you think? Do you think it's Danny Dimes? Do you think Anthony Richardson?
I think it's Danny Dimes.
I kind of do too.
Yeah. I mean, he's won a playoff game as a New York Giant. He won a playoff game.
Yeah, they also drafted your boy, Riley Leonard, rookie at Notre Dame.
Yeah, sticking in Indiana for sure. I love that.
Might be a fan favorite.
He could be, and yeah, I mean, I've always betted against Anthony Richardson. Had some good stuff, just didn't play a lot of football, and we've seen it over and over again. With Trey Lance came in, didn't play any football, and couldn't put it together. And his style of play, can you? And here's the weird thing about it is, and there's several teams that have this going on. It's like going in with like a honest to goodness quarterback battle. It really screws up the practices. How do you because in most places starters get, 95% of the reps and the backups get, 3 to 5 reps with the first team. So I just never know how teams like that are going to pan out. And so I think Danny Dimes is probably just the steadier hand. Yeah.
And former, both first round picks. So we'll see. But yeah, we both have them as wins there for the Rams. And then they get not the vaunted this year, but the rival Niners. Niners week is one of my favorite weeks in all of this. The whole calendar. Love Niners week. All the trash talk, all the fun. It's a great week. October 2nd, primetime game. Niners at home at SoFi. Always a battle, regardless of what team, who's on what team. Going to be a battle. I'll let you start on this one. Who you got in this one?
I'm going Rams here as well. I mean, talk about question marks. Does is Mac Jones going to be the quarterback because they haven't figured out the contract with Brock Purdy? Is Christian McCaffrey going to be fully healthy? Is Brandon Ayuk going to be healthy? What's going on with their offensive line? Ricky Pearsall got shot in the chest, played a handful of games last year, and that's just on the offensive side, which is the better, more solidified side. The defensive line has a bunch of rookies and kind of second stringers. Charvarius Ward not on this team. So tons of question marks there. I think this is a win for the Rams, but Shanahan always keeps it close and fields a good team. Robert Saleh back at defensive coordinator. So, but they get him early. And I think that behooves the Rams because there a lot of expectations on these rookies. A lot of rookies are going to have to play starting roles, and that's always big question marks.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting year for the Niners because it seems like for the past kind of 3 to 4 years, there's been so much hype for the Niners. And, 2 of those years, they lived up to it, making the Super Bowl, ultimately losing, but making it. And the other years, they really did not live up to it. And last year, they lived up close. Obviously, got some injuries late, but they were still a very good team. But they've had these massive expectations of what to do. And like this year, because I think they lost so much in free agency, they had honestly, like, I don't know what you think, but not a great draft. I mean, again, we got to see it play out. Just these are all like, who knows until we see them on the field, but kind of an interesting draft. I feel like expectations are kind of low for this team for the first time. And so this is the year where they're just going to like surprise people and actually be like a good football team. Which again, they were last year too, but I just think they're going to maybe exceed expectations because they're a lot lower than they've been in recent memory. That being said, though, I think the Rams are the better team. It's a home game. And I just think they have all the at each position they're better. You see all that San Francisco lost, and it was really a net negative, whereas the Rams were able to be a net positive with kind of who they lost versus who they gained in the offseason. So, yeah, Rams get the better of the Niners here at home. Move to what I got them at 4-1. What are you at? 3 and
I'm at 3-2.
3-2, and I'm 4-1. Great. Next is a travel. So this is kind of where they get screwed again a little bit with the travel. They go back out east to play the Baltimore Ravens. And I'll just preface it. We'll talk Ravens first. But then from the Ravens, then they go to London directly after to play the Jaguars. Luckily, they get a bye after that. But so this definitely feels like they're going to be away from home for 2 straight weeks again. Basically playing Baltimore, whether they stay on the East Coast for a while and then fly to London, or they just go to London a week early and just like hang out there. Just, chill at Buckingham Palace or whatever they're going to do. But first, let's start with Baltimore. Very good team, obviously.
Yeah.
Really hard road team, or when Baltimore's at home, hard to beat. The Rams have played them very well. They should have beat them 2 years ago when they, lost on a overtime punt return or whatever. So it's going to be, I think, a good game again. But I don't know. I think there'll be some thoughts thinking ahead, maybe not thinking ahead because Baltimore's obviously a fantastic team, but I do think Baltimore maybe gets the best of them this time.
Yeah, I got to pull up their depth chart, to be honest with you, because I have not been paying attention, because it's one of these teams where you just go like, oh, well, yeah, they're a good team. But like,
Yeah.
They bring in DeAndre Hopkins. He's probably their most dynamic receiver. Great offensive line again. Derrick Henry is going to be a tough running back to stop.
Just re-sign him, 2-year deal.
Indeed. Yeah.
Mark Andrews, great tight end.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a good team again. This is going to be a hard fought one. I think at home, traveling, 10:00 a.m. Pacific time start time. I think Baltimore gets the better of them.
Yeah, it should be a great game. This might be one, Skinny, that we actually look at traveling to. I have a niece that lives in Baltimore, and we visited her in right when the Rams were basically playing them in 23. It was like right around the same time. Ironically, it wasn't planned for that, and it was like, oh man, I could have actually gone to the game. I think we talked about that on the show. But that city loves the Ravens. I mean, it's a great sports town. They're diehard Ravens fans, and Baltimore's kind of an underrated city. Like, I think that might be a fun one to actually travel to potentially.
That one and Atlanta, those are the only two I have any interest in. I've been to Levi Stadium plenty of times. Carolina's, no interest there. Philly, it's Philly.
Nashville would be fun if we went right in the beginning.
Nashville would be a good time.
Nashville
would
would be fun. That would sneak up quick. So maybe we'll see. But anyway, we'll talk about that after. So yeah, Baltimore both with L's. So I dropped to 4-2. You dropped to 3-3.
Oh, you went L there. Okay.
Yeah, I go L. Close, but L. So then they go straight to London, whether they stay on the East Coast and then go or whatever. They go to London, play Jacksonville. Should be, I don't know what people think about these international games. Curious Rams fans' thoughts. I know season ticket holders hate it if it counts as a home game because you lose that home game, that chance to go watch the team play.
This is an away.
Oh, yeah, this is an away game. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. The Chargers, their international game is a home game. So at least the Rams don't get that. But I think overall the international games are fun. It's great for the brand. You're building more of a global presence for your brand specifically. I know the NFL Shield is what's growing, but hey, there'll be a lot more Rams fans in London probably in the next 2 years than there were if they wouldn't play this game. So there's some benefit there. And, it's kind of fun watching. I'm getting up at 6:30 in the morning, LA time to have to watch, start your day off. But yeah, should be a fun game. Jacksonville is still in the midst of figuring things out. I think they've got some talent there. Obviously, the big signing, their new GM formerly of the Rams, and they had a fantastic draft with Travis Hunter and other pieces. But I don't think they've done enough to be on the same field as the Rams. So I'm taking the Rams in this one.
Jacksonville's favored to win this game by a slight margin.
Are they?
I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. I think they're gonna beat them just by a little bit. Also, Duval is our former offensive coordinator is now their head coach, right? That's right.
How do you feel about that hire? I don't, no disrespect, but I'm honestly shocked Liam Cohen is a head coach. I didn't see it.
I have my doubts. I didn't like how he handled a few situations when he was in LA, and it was a really hard year, but what he did with Baker Mayfield here and in Tampa, really good offense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait and see. Like, I'm skeptical of it just because of what I saw up close and personal here in LA. So I'm on the fence about it. I'm curious to see how he'll handle, the first year struggles. So I'm on the fence. That's the best I can do for that answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard especially when he was here in LA. I mean, he's the OC for a team that doesn't really use an OC on game days. Like Sean McVay is the OC. Obviously, he does a lot behind the scenes and during the week and with substitutions and whatnot. But it's always hard to really know what the Rams OC everyday role is versus another team where the OC is running the offense. So I always just find it interesting though how some teams. I'm not saying Jacksonville specifically. Just when you look at the hiring cycle. I know we're getting off topic a little bit, and it's like some teams will be like, all right, who's the new hot young offense or defensive mind, right? Like, okay, this guy's calling the plays. Instead of looking at all right, who's going to be the best CEO for our team? Like who's going to manage people the best and this and that. And obviously, you go through the interview process to see that. I don't know Liam Cohen, never met him, just based on stuff I've seen and interviews. I just don't view him as this great overarching CEO. I could be completely wrong. I'm rooting for him. I hope he seems like an awesome dude, but there's certain coaches you're like, oh yeah, that guy commands a room. That guy leads men. That you can see that. Plus then they have the football acumen. And there's other guys who are like, yeah, that guy probably draws up great plays on a whiteboard, but is anyone going to listen to him when he actually is giving the rah-rah speech in the locker room? I don't know.
Yeah. And there's all sorts of evidence of Harbaugh going to the Chargers is a great example of a CEO guy. He's obviously not a scheme, genius, not a maven in any sort. Mike McDaniel, which I brought up earlier, he's got some great schemes, but it's does every play have to be a trick play? Can we settle down and just run some duo or something? I don't know.
High formation, come on, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm open-minded, and this is a great time for a bye week to come just after international travel, and then kind of right towards the middle of the season, not too early, not too late, which is where the Rams like it.
Perfect. Yeah. So this was the part of the Rams schedule release where Taram Colum did the Duval and a London accent. So that was the one nice little feature of the release. Yeah. But yes, so you have them losing, I have them winning. So I'm going to 5-2 into the bye, and you're going 3-4 into the bye, right?
3-4 into the bye. Oh, how did that happen?
Yeah. I mean, fans might get mad, but the last 2 years, that's what's happened. The Rams have gone into the bye looking like a non-playoff team, and it's the second half of the year where they turn things around, which I presume is what's going to happen on Skinny's predictions here.
Yeah, 100%, because the back half is much more easy than the first half. And just to make my case a little bit more solid, just so I don't get completely tearing apart, Brian Thomas Jr., great wide receiver. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
We've seen him do good things. Wasn't good last year. Great pieces on defense. Josh Hines Allen is going to show why the Rams maybe should have traded for him. I feel like, and then Travis Hunter to that. It's going to be an interesting mix. So I think it's going to, this is a home game for the Jags, really. So,
well, and they are like the NFL's international teams. They actually have a really good following in London. So yes, it is. It's like a real home game, not just like they're on the schedule, the home team. Like they're London's team essentially because they play every year there. Sorry, London, you got like the worst of the NFL to be your like your chosen team. At least they're not bandwagon, right? That's why I'm like, if you follow the Premier League over in London, like I'm a Crystal Palace fan because like I don't want to be bandwagon, so I'm not going to be like Man U or Man City or Liverpool. Like, yeah, Crystal Palace, baby.
Beautiful.
All right, so the bye week, great, much needed bye. After the bye, they come back and get the Saints at home. Freshly, well, not the time they play them, but now, freshly for now, their quarterback, Derek Carr, announces his retirement. They are going into the season with not a good quarterback room. Very young, we'll just say that. Very young and inexperienced quarterback room. Jake Haener, they just drafted Tyler Shuck. They also have our boy that we wanted the Rams to take last year that I'm drawing a blank on his name now.
Spencer Rattler,
thank you. We'll see if they go after a vet in there, but that's the room right now. And that's a team that's kind of in a rebuild also and kind of figuring things out. They still got Alvin Kamara. They've got Cam Jordan back for his like 18th, 20,000th season or however long the guy's been in the league. But I don't think it's going to be enough. So I think the Rams off the bye with the rest, with the extra practice, with the mind of McVay should win this one pretty easily.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to say about it. Just you got no quarterback, new head coach, and then you got Brandon Staley leading the defense. He made the Rams defense the number one defense, and kind of didn't look so hot as a head coach. So yeah, easy win after the bye, especially.
Yeah, Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley down in the Big Easy. I think they'll turn things around, but not yet. I mean, they got a lot of stuff to figure out. So. All right. After that, and we can kind of run through these a little quicker now. I realize we're just halfway through the schedule, and yeah, we can. So then you get the travel to San Francisco to play the Niners. Do the Rams get the sweep, Skinny, or are they split in the series?
The NFC West is so confusing. I've already kind of said my piece about the 49ers and all the question marks, but I think they have it figured out by this point, and I think they get a narrow victory.
Yeah, I'm going to go too. I think that's the division, regardless if it's good or bad, division games are hard to win. It's rare that teams get swept or that sweep the entire division, I should say. So I think the Rams split with the Niners, and they'll drop this one for me to drop to 6-3. After the Niners, they go back home for a 2-game stand. First against the Seahawks. Seahawks are an interesting team. They ship Geno Smith to the Raiders. They end up signing my guy. Love me some Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold gets another return to LA. This guy always gets to play back in LA where, he's from, obviously. Fight on, go Trojans. I don't know what to make of the Seahawks because I think they've got some nice pieces, but I just don't know what to make of them. So for that reason, I'll go Rams win this one. It's a home game and whatnot. What about you?
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. You go back and you look at that midseason overtime game that the Rams got a big DeMarcus Robinson touchdown in overtime. That was a Cam Curl 103-yard return. The Rams were down 10 points at halftime. the Mike McDonald defense has, traditionally stifled McVay a bit. But on offense, I got only question marks, and this is going to be the big Cooper Kupp game.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Homecoming, emotional, but I'm going Rams win as well here.
Yeah, I think that'll add some definite juice. It'll obviously be the storyline of the entire week for us, for everyone in the media. And I think Kupp probably has a good game. But I think the Rams as a team overall get it done. So move to 7-3 for me. After that, they stay home against the Buccaneers. New offensive coordinator Buccaneers. Obviously, Liam Cohen scorned them for the Jacksonville Jags job. That was a kind of an interesting separation, if you will. But Buck's still a good team. Still got the solid, head coach and Baker Mayfield and some great offensive weapons, obviously, with who they got there and the receiving core with Mike Evans and company, plus obviously Bucky Irving coming into his own as a running back. They got a great defensive line. So this is I don't know. I want to hear your reasoning first. I don't have a pick yet.
Without Liam Cohen in there, Baker Mayfield's always been up and down in his career. I think he regresses a bit without that kind of hand holding. Obviously, they're going to have their receivers back. And I think they added another wide receiver in the draft.
Yeah, Puka.
Oh, right. Yeah. So really interesting, solid team. This is just a solid, good team. But I think McVay actually pushes this team around a little bit. With his new offense, with his core of receivers, and they're again, their defense is solid, but I think if they're not going to create explosive plays with this defense, I don't think. Not a ton of pressure, so I'm going another Rams win.
Yeah, man, I'm torn on this because I agree. McVay, this is one of those teams that McVay does have their number. Back even when Brady was there, and obviously the playoff matchup that we've seen. So I think the Rams have played them really well. Yeah, I'll go Rams in this one as well. I mean, 8-3, I got them. They're looking hot, looking spicy for the playoffs.
6-5 right now.
Okay. You're probably a lot more realistic, but then they travel back east. I mean, dang, we spent half the season on the East Coast to play the Carolina Panthers. I'll be quick on this one. I really like their head coach. I think they're rebuilding the right way. I think they're going to make strides. I think the fact that they didn't give up on their quarterback, their young quarterback, and they're potentially grooming him and hoping him get better and better. But they're still a ways away, and they don't have the roster to compete with the Rams. So taking the Rams in this one.
Yeah, I don't think they have much of a defense at this point. So I am also going Rams win here.
Perfect. Then they stay away, but obviously come back to the West Coast to play the Arizona Cardinals. We know I don't have the record in front of, what is it? 1 loss total in the McVay era to the Cardinals.
Is that right?
Just
they lost last year. They lost last year to them early when they played them early, when they had the huge Marvin Harrison game.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: I don't think Kyler Murray likes Marvin Harrison. That's their biggest issue. They got a very temperamental quarterback.
The video gaming isn't working out for them. What is it, Warzone they play or whatever, or Call of Duty?
Is that right? Yeah, Call of Duty. I think that's what I heard.
Yeah. I'll stick with the Rams though. They just, for whatever reason, just outside of that game they lost last year, which they got their doors blown off, and that was when we were really like, wow, is this team like in trouble? Could not do anything on defense against them. So, but then they got it figured out. I think they win this one, 10-3.
Yeah, Arizona's got, they're getting a ton of hype. I mean, everybody's really into Jonathan Gannon. I still think they're 2 years away from being 2 years away. I've never met a Cardinals fan, and so I'm not entirely sure this team actually exists, or if it just exists in like it's like they're like the Washington Generals, the team that the Harlem Globetrotters play. Like they just like put some jerseys on some white guys and roll them out there. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just,
here in LA, there's there's a fan of every team because there were so many years of no teams. And Phoenix is like the closest city, NFL city with a team. And you're right. Like, I don't know any true Cardinals fans. I know, like, I have friends of every team represented basically. Yeah, I don't really know of any. I'm sure there are, but Phoenix. I mean,
Okay.
if you're in Phoenix, obviously they have fans, but yeah, they're not out
I'm,
here.
I'm picking the Cardinals or the Rams win here, but just as a case for their defense, they got my guy Calais Campbell. Come
There you go.
on, love
There you
that
go.
guy. He's 95 years old. Also added Josh Sweat and
Yeah, that was a good pickup.
and our guy Will Johnson in the second round. So good
Yeah.
pickup there. So
Hassan Reddick also. They added.
oh wow.
Nope, never
Okay.
mind. I'm sorry. I'm still looking at the Buccaneers.
Oh, Walter Nolan is their other draft pick. So
Yes.
added to the defense. So intriguing team. I'm kind of interested. Kind of curious if they can get Kyler Murray to throw the ball to their fantastic wide receiver.
Yeah. So we'll see. That'll be we'll come back to that as the season progresses. But in May, we'll both take the Rams to win that. Then they come back home, get to play the Lions again before Christmas, December 17th against the Lions. I love this new rivalry that's budding. I love this matchup that continues. But the Lions have had the Rams number. They've had their number. Now, both times they've played them in Detroit. The last time they played in LA, which was in Matthew Stafford's first season, which was when the Rams won the Super Bowl. I was at that game. The Rams won that game. However, I'm going to take the Lions in this one. I just think they've had their number recently. And, their season obviously ended shorter than they expected, being the top team in the NFC and losing to the Commanders. And that was devastating. And they lose both coordinators. But I think they did some other good stuff in free agency. So I don't know. I just think there's this is a rivalry. So I'm going to go Lions in this one.
I think losing two fantastic coordinators is going to cost them more than they realize, more than people are anticipating.
Yeah.
I think the Rams are going to blow the doors off the Lions this year.
Woo! All right.
I think it's happening. I think, with the defense taking a step forward for the Rams, getting after Goff is the way to, just turn him into a pumpkin. We're all familiar with it. So I'm picking a blowout win as the Lions head back to SoFi for the first time since 2021.
Yeah. So this will be interesting with them because I do agree with you that I think the Lions will regress a little bit. Losing the coordinators is a big deal. It'll be interesting to think because you remember the Eagles when they first won their Super Bowl, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago, and that's when they lost both coordinators and Jonathan Gannon and Steichen was their OC at that time. So they lose both those coordinators. The hires that then, or I should say the promotions that their head coach made obviously did not pan out. They regressed mightily. Remember, they promoted Sean Desai on defense and their quarterback coach, I don't know his name, they promoted him to OC on offense. Had a huge regression that year. And then last offseason, they go out and hire Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore, and here they are going to win the Super Bowl again. So it'll be interesting if the Lions are able to, if they made the right hires, or if it'll be just the regression promotions that they did, and they'll just see a big regression like the Eagles did. That's kind of the comparison I'm going to look for.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be an interesting question, and we'll know by the time December 14th rolls around exactly what they have in this team. I just think it was such a brain drain. Ben Johnson, bided his time, just waited for the right opportunity to come, and that's why he left. And so I think, it's a down year for the Lions.
All righty. So there we go. Final 3 games of the season. Travel up to Seattle. Primetime game, December 18th. I will go just because division games are tough. I'm going to go Seattle takes this one to get the split. Kupp goes off in this one in front of his hometown near Yakima. Just kidding. Yakima, Washington, where he's from, near Seattle. So I'll go Seattle takes this one. Rams split, fall to 10-5.
I'm going to go another W here. Just because I have no belief in Sam Darnold. I don't think this offensive line got as good as it needs to be, and that's Darnold, like Goff, crumbles under the pressure. We saw it in Minnesota twice last year when the Rams played them. So I'm betting on that to happen once again.
There you go. So final 2 games, they go back out east to play our good friend Raheem Morris in the beautiful Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Who you got in this one?
Oh, man, this is a tough one because Michael Penix played 3 games last year. Took the Atlanta to the two overtime games, lost both of those games, got a victory in week 18, I believe. But they got a ton of good weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really know exactly what Penix is going to be. I'm going to say this was going to be a shocker. It's going to be a shocker, and the Rams will fall to Raheem Morris.
Yeah.
And I want to put in there also the Falcons are probably my second favorite team to land Ramsey, specifically because they have Raheem Morris. So I think Jalen Ramsey might end up there. Played his best ball under Raheem Morris.
Yeah. And they added Morgan Fox this offseason. They get Jeff Ulbrich as their DC, who's a very good DC. Obviously, we know Zach Robinson is their OC from the Rams. I mean, their whole season comes down to what Michael Penix actually is, which is hard right now and made a judge after 3 games. If he's a even competent quarterback, I mean, they're going to be a really good football team. I think they're well coached. I think Drake London finally having a good passer. If Penix ends up being that, Drake London will be a top 5 receiver in football next year. I think he's that good. He just hasn't had like the quarterbacks to like get him the football. They still have Kyle Pitts, who has yet to break out, but I mean, the dude can play all over. So I agree. Like I don't want to do back-to-back losses, but I think the Rams kind of get ahead of themselves, looking ahead of the playoffs. Obviously, I had them just losing to Seattle, but then you got to travel back east again, another most likely 10 a.m. kickoff time. So yeah, I think Raheem Morris kind of gets the best of him here, and they dropped 2 in a row to fall to 10-6.
Whoa! I did not see you going that way. You zagged on me. Zagged.
Right? If you think I zig, I zag. Final game. This is where I have the Rams getting back on track going into the playoffs. Arizona at home in January. I won't say much. McVay has Arizona's number. They get the win, finish the season 11-6.
I agree. Nothing else to say about that fake team.
What's your record? Is your record 11-6 also, or
11-6? Yeah.
All right. So we come up with the same conclusion, just a very different way in getting there.
Yeah, indeed.
So, all right. Well, there you have it. There's the whole schedule, guys. What do we think? Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Great. Well, drop your comments below. We have our forum is officially, our message boards are live on LAFB Network. Go to LAFBnetwork.com in the menu. You'll see forum. Go there. We have all the teams, but obviously the Rams. You can create topics. We can create community, engage, have some fun. We'll drop some insider information there whenever we have it. So go check out the forums. Hit that like and subscribe on the YouTube if you haven't. Rams LAFB, that helps us out and helps us keep growing this thing. We appreciate it. If you prefer listening on audio, Apple, Spotify, just search Rams Skinny. And as I always say, everything can be found at LAFBnetwork.com. 11-6, going to get you in the playoffs. We'll see if they can steal 1 or 2 of those to finish with 12 or 13 wins and potentially win the division. But I like the Rams' chases this year to chase that Super Bowl. For Skinny T, I'm Ryan Dart. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Talk to you all soon.